We are thrilled to have you here today at Professional Beauty India, where we are set to embark on a journey of inspiration, innovation, and growth in the world of salon management. My name is Kanishka Ramchandani, the editor of Professional Beauty India, and I'm honored to be your host for this incredible event. Salon Management Congress Delhi 2024 is presented to you by Brillare Professionals, our conference partner. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to thank our dedicated team who has worked tirelessly under the leadership of our Managing Director, Mr. Vikas Vij, to make this conference a reality. We at Professional Beauty India have always been at the heart of India's hair and beauty industry, and today we are proudly connecting with all the hearts that beat with a passion for this industry, as can be seen from the extravaganza around you. Can we please have the AV to show how much we are connected to the hearts of everyone in India's hair and beauty industry?
My shot do not miss. Since a kid been flossing like triple threat. You were looking at a triple threat. We ain't simmer yet. Game dripping like it's been a crack. We can go from the videos on the internet. If you say you really like that, then we gotta check. Triple threat.
All right, so that was all about Professional Beauty India. The things that you should look forward to here are plenty of learning opportunities around us today because we have our beauty demo stage, the HJ hair stage, our newly introduced stage, the platform, and the arena dedicated to coloration, the ColorPod. And of course, here, Salon Management Congress. We also have the cohort job fair that helps professionals find good working opportunities the right way. So that was a quick glimpse into the world of Professional Beauty India. Today, we gather not just as professionals, but as a community dedicated to excellence, creativity, and the continuous evolution of the salon industry. Over the next 2 days, you will have the opportunity to learn from industry leaders, network with peers, and discover the latest trends and technologies shaping our field. The panel discussions will be conducted in Hindi and English, and I encourage the audience to ask questions and interact with the speakers as this is a great opportunity to connect with industry leaders. We are awaiting two of our esteemed panelists to join us, and we will begin the session as soon as they are here. So allow me 2 minutes of time to connect with them and get them here in the hall. Thank you for your patience. All right, so they are here and we are ready to start. So, our first panel discussion for the day is about challenges faced in the beauty business in 2024. It's looking through the crystal ball sort of a discussion where we'll be trying to predict what kind of challenges lay ahead for us, and our experts will give you advice on how to overcome those challenges. For this panel, I would like to invite on stage Dr. Blossom Kochhar, Chairperson, Dr. Blossom Kochhar Group of Companies. Can we have a round of applause for Dr. Blossom? Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us today. Please, can we have you in the center? Next up is Ms. Monica Bell, CEO, Beauty and Wellness Skill Sector Council, that's BWSSE. And Ms. Richa Agarwal, founder, Cleopatra Chain of Beauty, Wellness and Makeovers. And joining them is Ms. Seema V. J. Rajani, founder, SVJ Academy. Thank you so much for joining us today. Before I join the panel and start asking them questions, I would like to introduce my speakers to you. With a career spanning over decades, Dr. Blossom Kochhar is a highly esteemed figure in holistic beauty. Recognized as a trailblazer, she introduced aromatherapy to India and has been a strong advocate for organic living through her unique product line. As the chairperson of the Blossom Kochhar group of companies, her influence is evident in the success of brands such as Blossom Kochhar Aroma Magic and the Blossom Kochhar College of Creative Arts and Design. My next speaker, Monica Bell, is the CEO of B&W SSE under the aegis of Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, with more than 28 years of experience in business management and development, skilling, world skills, and vocational education. She has spent years in leadership roles involving strategic planning and execution, organization building, P&L management, and business development, operations, and sales. Renowned beauty, wellness, makeup, and nutrition consultant Richa Agarwal is here. She's a pioneer behind the Cleopatra chain that encompasses day spas, bridal studios, beauty and wellness centers, and academies. Her expertise and business acumen has transformed her salon as one of the most reputed chains in India's beauty and wellness industry. Any discussion on hair education in India is incomplete without Seema V. Jairajani. From curating and authoring a coffee table book on Indian hairstyling to winning international awards and accolades, Seema is a perpetual student. Her yearning for learning makes her an exemplary educator who has changed the face of hair education in India. Can we have a round of applause to all our panel speakers here? And let's get started with the first session today. Sound check. Audible? Yeah? Yeah, that's whatever you're comfortable with, ma'am. You want? So, would you like to start? Yes? So, we'll have Dr. Blossom Kochhar's. You, yes, please.
Did it come? Okay. So, good morning, everybody, and especially my wonderful panel on the stage. It is really fantastic. And the topic that we have is a really great topic. It is called Challenges in the Beauty Business in 2024. And we have many challenges, I must say. They range from economic to evolving consumer preferences, and there are so much more. So I'm just going to go through a few of these. And after that, I think they can go into questions. Yes? It's okay. It's okay with this, no? Now is it okay? Okay. Oh, wow. That's good. Now I'm going to talk to just a few important things that are there, which we've noticed in the market. Now, one thing I must say, the marketplace is very dynamic. We all know that, isn't it? And also change is constant, which is good because it helps everything to evolve and grow. But in the past few years, we have noticed, really, I think not just me, I think a lot of those who are in this beauty industry have noticed that the pre-COVID and the post-COVID market is completely different, isn't it? Because patterns of selling have changed, mindsets have changed, and lifestyles also have changed. There's a different way business is done in a traditional market, and that has also changed. Okay, we have seen many startups and freelancers emerge. I'm sure we have a lot of them even over here. For example, before COVID, you'll find we wanted a service done. I'm sure we've all experienced that. We would go to a salon. Now you have an organized network of freelance workers, a network of them that give you that same service at home. And I must say, they have really gone into that quite well, because the way they come into your house and set it up, it is as though you're walking into a spa or you're walking into a salon. and they give you a fantastic service, and that is there to stay. The service coming from home. Also, to the pre-COVID traditional market, you have a new competitor emerging. Like, for example, before it used to be traditional and e-commerce. Now, an online selling, we can say. Now we have e-commerce. And what is the other one that we have? Quick commerce. Now, that is the latest, and that is a fantastic thing. I'll tell you a little story. A friend of mine was getting married. In fact, she was getting married and she was sitting there ready. The bridegroom was at the gate and she needed some pins. So she rang up and I said, "What's happening?" She said, "I'm waiting for the pins." Before she could say it, there was a bell rung and then the pins came for her to put her sari on. So that is how quick they are. This is a fantastic thing that it has moved into. So this part, it's fantastic for the consumer, but it is a challenge for the beauty industry because they really have to gear up to that sort of service and things. Okay? And then we have the other thing I'm going to talk about is the consumer. Now, this is something that has really come up. They have evolved and they are looking for transparency. Transparency. And they want to believe in a greater cause. You'll find your consumers are wanting to believe in a greater cause. They want something that is more wholesome, sustainable. Carbon footprint has also come in. And ingredients, they are very important. They want to know what are the ingredients they want to know are on the bottle and behind that label. They really want to know. And those that are not equipped enough with that, they are left behind. So this is another challenge that there is. And it is something that we definitely have to look into because it is a very important thing. It's not just here, it's all over the world. The consumer also faces the confusion that they have, because there's such an influx of products that are there in the market. We all know. We walk into a beauty store, what happens? There are so many products, we really don't know what to take and what not to take. And unless the person at the desk over there, the beauty advisors, they know their product, they know the client, they know about skin, they know about everything, they can give it to you. Otherwise, this is a big problem and a challenge for everyone. The competition that is there in the market where the companies that have a number of brands, this is another one. The companies that have a number of brands, they take up the stores, they take up everything. Those that are small and are just emerging, you'll find a lot of the small players are left behind. So this is a big challenge and we have to learn how to take the small players along with us because it is a big country and that is something that we definitely need. Okay? And we go on to the last. The last and definitely not the least is taxation. The taxation is also another challenge we all face, whether it is product, whether it is wellness, whether it's anything in the beauty industry. Now you'll find we as Indian product makers and wanting to go there for anything, to start anything there, where would we go? We would go around the SAARC countries. But what is happening is that when we get into those countries, they charge the Indian person who comes in there a huge taxation. So to export these things is a problem. And not just a problem, I should say it's a challenge because we can get through this and we do work with it. And so when we go in, we have to pay the consumer over there pays a higher amount. And what happens in India? When the things come into India, maybe your raw materials or packaging or other things, what is happening? We have to pay again a huge taxation. So with this up, the product is going up. And so the consumer, what happens to them is that they really, have to pay more. So it becomes a challenge. How are we going to work with this? We have a lot of foreign players which are coming in to India, which is really good, in fact, because these foreign players are making everything improving. They are improving the market, and it's really good. But it's our responsibility, really, to keep this market healthy. And we have to, there is a lot of space for everyone, but we all have to look into good quality. We have to have good quality checks, good quality. That is one thing where we can beat, I think, most of it. And the most important thing is education. Education has to be there for the people who sell, for the retailers, for the distributors, for even the consumers. It is an important aspect of everything that is there in this market. So let's go ahead, and now I'll leave it to the rest of them. We have educationists and we have hair designers, all wonderful, really wonderful people. And I'm sure they're going to bring a lot of these things to you. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, that was a really good overview of what to expect, and you brought out a lot of important points, especially quick commerce. That's going to be a challenge slash opportunity for the industry. It's the way we look at it and make the most of it. So I would like to now start the panel with Seema. So Seema, tell us about the challenges that you feel education wise the industry is likely to face. ऐसा कोई प्रॉब्लम है खास करके रिलेटेड टू हेयर एजुकेशन जो हमारे इंडस्ट्री के लिए बहुत बड़ा हर्डल बन सकता है? Can we have the mic, please?
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I don't know whether it's morning or afternoon by now. Yeah, sure. So this is regarding the education systems which have changed a lot since the COVID. What happened was बहुत सारे online courses आ गए, makeup है इसमें, and everybody thinks कि हमें skills online सीख के तो सब कुछ आ गया. हेयर कटिंग भी आ जाता है, मेकअप भी आ जाता है. इतने सारे मेकअप ट्रेनर्स हो गए, हेयर स्टाइलिंग ट्रेनर्स हो गए कि it did affect all the academies. Because if you say that, well, आपने पहले कहीं पढ़ा है, तो they say that yes, we've studied. And when you ask them, the answer होता है YouTube. अभी तो आंसर ऐसा होता है कि हमने Instagram से सीखा है. तो आप Instagram की 1 minute के रील में सारा बेसिक सीख लिया. And believe me that nobody has even the hand to do the right kind of a blow dry. Blow dry करते हैं ना, तो next wash तक निकलना नहीं चाहिए.
Yeah.
Most people blow dry करते बाहर जाओ salon के, आधे घंटे में blow dry निकल जाता है. But that's the kind of education that's happening because two things. One, they're doing online. Second thing is a lot of trainers जो है, they are also not properly trained. Because इतने सारे teachers हो गए हैं that people can't differentiate between a genuine teacher कि जिसको पता है. Like they have so many followers. 50,000 followers, 200,000 followers. So एटीट्यूड ये हो गया है कि जिसके फॉलोअर्स ज़्यादा है वो एजुकेटर अच्छे हैं. सो इट डजंट मैटर द नॉलेज, बट दे कैन प्रेजेंट देमसेल्फ वेल, दे कैन स्पीक. जैसे यू नो लाइक गिव यू एन एग्जांपल ऑफ माई सेल्फ. सो आई कांट नॉन स्टॉप स्पीक टू अ कैमरा. We've never done it before. Youngsters are very good with, you know, just going on the camera and they can go continuously, you know. I'm an educator. You put me on stage, or you have to, if I'm teaching, to my pure education, technical, you know, visual, each way I can give the education, but I can't speak non-stop to a camera, you know. So those who become influencers, so you find that, yes, they have like, you know, my own students come in and ask me, मैम हमारे तो 50 students होते हैं बैच में, आप तो 6-8 student होते. I said, first of all, internationally, art student to one teacher is the correct proportion. if you go abroad anywhere, it's one teacher to max 8 students. And I have been following that to genuinely make a difference to my students. तो ये system तो अभी बचा ही नहीं है. तो 50-50 students सीख लेते एक batch में, तो you wonder that are they really getting educated? And then all of them become educators. ऐसे नहीं कि experience लिया या कुछ भी किया. They don't know how do you neutralize a makeup, or they don't know what are the different things in hair cutting. कैंची चलाना सीख लिया तो that's hair cutting. So there's a lot of difference, and because of online education, people think हर एक skill हम completely सीख सकते हैं, but it is not so. In spite of all the courses that are there, it's important कि skills सीखना चाहिए, या even a short course, a basic course to get you started. So after COVID, this has happened where everybody thinks that they know everything and they really don't want to even learn, or they think कि हमें सिर्फ advanced सीखना है. And I end up having students जो third module करते हैं, फिर they realize नहीं हमें पहला करना है, तो after doing the third they come back to one. So this is how the education has changed. Like earlier people used to do all the like whatever number of weeks. Now it's Instagram and YouTube से सब सीख लिया, हमें सिर्फ advance करना है. So that is the change in attitude till they actually do a course and realize, oh हमें तो actually कुछ नहीं आता है. So that's the difference in the mentality. Yes.
Monica, coming to you, would you like to add to what Seema is saying based on your experience of training people?
I would 100% agree with Seema ji that yes, nowadays online education, it's very important because everyone cannot have either the means to reach out to the best of the trainers. Online is important, but as Seema ji said, the foundation has to be strong. Online is good if you're upskilling yourself. If you already know the foundation, you know the basics, you just want to do a modification of a haircut, maybe a modification of a layering. I would, if I take an example, how to blow dry and give it a different look every time a client come to you with the same hair. That's online is very good. But to make a foundation, it's very important because when we talk of word skills, skills ka matlab hi hai to do things with your hand, not to do things just seeing online, because online it's as good as making a dish, and instead of, you might just forget to add the salt to the dish, and once the dish is ready and then you taste it and then you realize what's missing. But the only difference between a dish and your hair is, hair once chopped cannot be plugged back, and there's no alter, control, delete when it comes to beauty services, because we are working on human beings. Whereas in everything else other than medical, and that's why I call beauty professional and aestheticians are next to the caregivers, because we, other than doctors and nurses, the only other genre of the, I would say, the service provider who get to work on human body is beauty professional, hairdressers, makeup artists, and the spa therapists. And there's no second option. You cannot go back on the system and do a control alter delete. दोबारा से programming कर लेते हैं या dish दोबारा बना लेते हैं, यहाँ पे chance नहीं मिलता. So it's very, very important to invest in good education, get yourself skilled. Once you're skilled, then yes, upgradation can always be done. Upskilling can be done. Reskilling can be done. But a foundation is very important, and that's where government programs also come in support of that, specifically helping the bottom of the pyramid. Since I'm representing Beauty and Wellness Sector Skill Council, which is under Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, we run government courses for the marginal section of the society, the bottom of the pyramid, students who cannot afford to get a good education or can even think of Seema ji. But they all are our members and our patrons. Dr. Kochar is our chairperson. So these are the people these students aim to aspire to even get one lecture from. In fact, I must say here, Seema ji has been training our India Skill winner every second year. So last year also the girl whom she trained in long hair styling, she brought back home a medallion of excellence for India. This time also, we've got our competitor for India Skill winner who will be given to her under her able guidance. She'll be training him. So it's very important that we get the right skills, and specifically for people who cannot even afford it. And if we know of anyone, maybe our maids, our drivers, anyone whose children or they themselves would like to get into this industry but don't have the means, we are here supporting them.
Thank you, Monica. Coming to you, Richa, you are perhaps what everyone is looking forward to right now, being the only salon owner on the panel. What kind of challenges are you seeing in this coming year for the beauty industry, specifically for salon management?
Yeah, thank you. See, as far as the salon or a service industry, there are few major challenges we are facing. One of them, I would say, is the price war. What is happening is a lot of new salons are coming, small salons are coming, freelancer, home services, services at home. You know, all the categories are there where the overheads are different. For a big salon, the overheads are bigger. For the smaller one, it is, and a lot of people are not even paying the taxes and all. So they have more margins. The profit margins are there. So this is one of the major challenge that, you know, the rates are, you know, the pressure of the lower rates are there. Like, for example, we would say nail extension or nail art, you know, 2 saal pehle 3,000, 3,500 was the rate. But now this year, I just got to know a couple of, you know, the clients, they said 1,500, maximum 2,000 mil raha hai. So the rate, this, you know, price war is one of the major challenge. Second challenge we have it is from the doctors, paramedical and other thing. I think Sangeeta ji is here. She was mentioning that day, this part. We have the high-end facials or high-end skincare is now taken a lot by the, you know, the doctors and, you know, dermats and trichologists and paramedical people. So the more marginal things are going to them, the less has got a more competition. Then another, yeah, and then there's another thing which is happening for quite some time, and we all are worried, is the poaching and the staff recruitment and retaining the staff, which is a very major issue in all the subsectors, whether it is a retail, supply chain, salon chain, academies, everywhere. So because the scarcity of expertise are there, so people prefer to take it from someone who already has it, pay them a higher salary, and then they take it. And the people who are training them, who are upgrading them, who are grooming them, they're just doing that for others. So this is a major challenge. For the supply chains, the challenges, the fluctuation of dollars and the crisis of Red Sea route. So the landing cost of the products is increased, the time to come, the products is also increased. So that is a challenge for them. So, and for the education, the problem is again then the expertise and all, you know, that there's a lot of gap between the education also. The training is happening, but the quality of training everywhere is not the same and not up to the mark, and also not upgrading the training. You know, the courses which were there are there. It is not matching with the latest modern salon standards. So, you know, these are some of the challenges we all are facing.
You mentioned about dermatologists and aestheticians being a competition to salons. So are we a challenge for them, or are they a challenge for us? Are we taking...
They are challenged because what happens is consumer prefer, आज भी यही होता है, being a dietitian also, being a, you know, from the skin and all, क्या होता है, they prefer to take a call or a, you know, when the doctor say हमें करा, मतलब उनका जो भरोसा होता है वो doctors पे ज़्यादा होता है. I was long time working in PGI, so क्या होता था, dietitian से नहीं पूछते थे, जो doctor खाने को बोलता था, they would like to. Same with the skincare also. So whatever they know, they may not have a, you know, the hands-on knowledge, but they are doctors, higher officials and all, and they're charging more.
Yes.
So, you know, that
Much more.
much more. So, jo महंगे वाले फेशियल्स होते हैं उनका मेजर चंक इज गोइंग टू देम.
क्या ये भी सच है कि एक बार अगर आपका क्लाइंट डर्मैट के पास चला जाता है तो वो दोबारा आपके पास आने के चांसेस बहुत कम हो जाते हैं क्योंकि वहां
नहीं,
से
आता है. They always come. Anybody who's got a services done from the salon, they do come back. एक बार जाते हैं, मतलब basically some chunk of money is going, but ultimately the kind of the salons are offering or the skincare institutes are offering, most of them I've seen come back who have tasted this. The new generation, and that's also another challenge. The new generation, the next gen, which is entering the market, beauty market, for them it is the Insta quick ads, the promotions, the doctors, they are more like Neem Hakim Khatre Jan. They have some knowledge and they're the one who goes more to the, the doctors and, these things.
Just to add in to what Richa mentioned, see the services that you avail from a dermatologist or an esthetician, they are one-time services with a long wait period.
Yes.
For example, if you've taken fillers or you've taken a derma roller, the next fillers, Botox will only be due after minimum 6 months to a year.
Yeah.
In between, for the maintenance, because at a doctor's clinic, they will not get that pampering what a salon does.
Yeah.
Because a client who comes to a salon is pampered from head to toe. Acha ma'am, ab aap ye le lijiye, ab aap ye kara lijiye, which doesn't happen in a medical clinic. It's a clinical setup.
Yes.
So even if they're going there, they will come for their follow-up services to the salon. Am I right? And for for them, again, for all the women sitting here, everyone loves their massages. At a doctor's clinic, it's a nurse who's just cleaning your face, and a doctor comes and does the injectables or a derma roller. There's no massage which is given. So all the clients come back to the salon asking कि वो तो हो गया, but अब थोड़ा massage करा दो.
वो experience.
Yes, that experiential and the different way of pampering is what gets them always back to the salons.
Yeah, I was going to say that. But the other thing, it's going to get less, I think, this going to the, those DMATs that give you your injections. Because now, all over the world, there are a lot of cases coming through where when a needle goes in, if they are not, and there are cases, they're all in court also, they are getting HIV. You know that? And it is happening with all those vampire facials and even your Botox and your fillers, unless that person is really, so there's going to be a very strict ruling and strict kind of monitoring on them so that this is not harmful for the public. So this is going to, it's for the beautician, you all will have to definitely see that you'll pamper your clients and keep them good. And there are a lot of massages, there are a lot of different things that you all can use that you don't need to have any invasion, with this. And we have a lot of machines, and I've seen beauticians using so many of these machines that do give the effect of, use of those injections and those fillers, which is really fantastic. So go on to that, except is that this Botox, like she was talking about, goes for 6 months. This could go for once in 1.5 months or even once a month. And I think if you all go into that, go into machines, go into other things and pamper your client, you can really win. These are challenges, but we have, instead of going head on, go this way, go that way, and you'll win it. Okay? So this is one thing that there is. The other thing I'm going to talk about, the education that is there. That is very, very important. And like Monica and she was saying, online definitely cannot work for you. Definitely. Especially you'll have to have, each hair, like I'm sure she'll say, each person's hair is different. Each person's hair is different. And I know when they do competition, many of these people from all over the world, even the water is different. They carry the water from this side to that side to wash their hair with that water, to do it. So this is a wonderful art. So if it is taught well, this art of hairdressing could become okay. And another, I'd love to put it across to everyone about the education. I remember when we started, we used to have a thing called cosmetology, not cosmetics. It was where we do hair and beauty. That was our foundation. And once we get this foundation, we can do manicure, pedicure, the normal facials, and then we used to go in for specialization. I think that is something that is going to cut down when your economy, when you're in the market, what you're spending on your people, because you don't have to have one person to only do hair cutting, one person to only do color, one person to do the bridal hair, one person to do the makeup. So this is again where those who are sending their people to the houses, they are winning over you all. They learn everything, because when you go to do a service in the house, you can't take 5 people in, you can't take 4 people in. So they have to learn like everything. Those who are doing, so we can cluster them. I think the beauty and wellness, that's what we are doing, isn't it, Monica? So we are like, if you do hair, if you do makeup, you should learn bridal hair too, which is okay. If you're an artist, you will do it. Bridal hair, you should know how to do a little basic facial. If you are doing nails, you should know how to do nail art, you should do other things. So they have to cluster. And of course, for hair services, I know Seema, she will do the long hair, and then she knows how the color, and she goes with even makeup. So that whole thing has to go together. These, I think, it's up to you all. And if anyone has anything on this, you can definitely say something. Yes.
Seema, if you could also mention, you earlier told us what the challenge was.
Yeah.
How to overcome it?
Exactly,
Yeah.
I was coming to the solution. So thanks for saying that. Agree with both of you. As Blossom said, that it's important that you need to learn more skills. ऐसे नहीं कि सिर्फ आप hair करो. अगर आप hair and makeup दोनों कर रहे हैं, तो it becomes easier. क्या होता है? Makeup could be seasonal, like the bridal season, but hair is continuous. Makeup gives you a bigger chunk of income, but your hair is a continuous thing. So those skills बहुत important है. क्या हुआ था during COVID? People who just knew, example, hairstyling, only bridal आता था, but the work started coming in fashion industry or movies. They were not skilled. So I even changed all my courses in such a way that if you've learned hairstyling, आप movies में कर सकते हैं, fashion shows में कर सकते हैं, shoots कर सकते हैं, brides कर सकते हैं, सारा कुछ. So skilling in such a way that if you're hairstyling, it doesn't matter what comes your way, you should be able to do it. The makeup courses also, mine are very short, but my system of education is different. You can do any work in makeup. I mean, not the gory, bloody makeup, I get scared myself with the special effects, but the normal makeup, the fashion makeup. So it makes a lot of difference. So it's important to have more than one set of skills. जैसे हमने शुरू किया था, I started in the 80s. It's been 40 years I'm in the industry now. तो सारा कुछ आप सीखो, फिर आप 2 subjects में specialization करो. But if you need to do something, you should know that skill. Like if I have a student here who says, ma'am, should I do the makeup or not? No, do the makeup. You also need to learn the nails. Because if the bride hasn't got her nails done and you need to change the polish, you should be able to do it. Unless you are a package in one, it's not going to help. Another thing, it's like the companies, like people like Green Trends, Naturals, all of them are there. So, sometimes students approach me, hairdressers or makeup artists, कि हमको ये करना है, company में से छुट्टी नहीं मिल रही है, or they're not willing to pay for my education. So what I suggest, like I've done that with Nalini and Yasmin's and all. So I say the company can pay a certain amount and let the person who's working pay a certain amount, so they are also paying their fees, which can be deducted from the salary. ऐसे नहीं कि आप training दो and then the person leaves the job. You see? So let them also take their responsibility for their own education, where they are paying part of the fees up to 50% maximum, and it's being deducted from their salary over a period of a year.
Right.
So they have a commitment to the company as well as to the person who's paying the balance of their fees. You see?
That's
So it
interesting
really
idea.
helps. So I've done this with a lot of brands who've sent me their people. So I say, take it up like that, then they'll be willing, because if they're coming to me, they know the kind of training they're going to get. So both of you take a commitment. So you hang around. You don't just leave the job then.
Yeah.
So that helps the person and the company then, both ways. So we worked out solutions to these things.
Right. Richa, any solution you would like to offer to the challenges that you are facing?
See, from salon point of
Yes.
view, or service industry point of view, I would say that careful strategic planning, budget, careful financial planning is very important. In financial planning, generally people go for the yearly budgets. You should also have a monthly budget. You must plan your month so that the break evens for that month. Because there's a lot of fluctuations now. The seasonal fluctuations are happening a lot nowadays. So keeping in mind, if you have a monthly budgets, your seasonal fluctuations, you'll be able to deal more. Your inventories, your systems, you must make a very good system on the check, not only on buying but on the usage, on a different level of there are the services, so that you can correlate, you can plan, you can judge yourself, you can judge the trends, and then you can control the fluctuations. So this is one thing which can happen. Second thing you can do is that continuous innovation. That is what is the future. A client needs a personal touch, an experience. You can use AI, AR, give them an experience, give them a personal touch, do a lot of innovations, because client is coming not only nowadays for the services. For the services, they have a lot of options. How can you make yourself different? By giving them a different experience, a personal touch, why they should come. First thing you should think is that they have 10 options. What is going to make you different from the others? So you need to continuously work on them. And then also, the important thing is that invest on technology and people, upgrade them, upgrade on technology. You need to invest on these things. And the biggest challenge, manpower, which is very difficult, still not controllable. But yes, you can create, and the only thing you can create is an atmosphere, a positive atmosphere, incentive scheme. You can create something in your organization that they would love to, like salaries on time. There are small things which may, give them a thought कि चल यार यहीं रहते हैं, कम से कम salary और ये चीजें, और comfort तो है, tension तो नहीं है. So, these are the things I would say may make a
Right.
difference.
Right. Thank you. Monica, you have the entire overview of the beauty industry pan India. So, what advice would you like to give to beauty professionals now going forward?
I think, yeah. Okay, let me cover the education part first. As Dr. Kocher mentioned and Seemaji mentioned, it's very important in today's time and world to have multi-skilled professionals. And at BWSSC, with the help of the entire industry, we've got courses which have got everything. Like a hair course will also take care of a basic makeup, will also take care of a basic cleanup. The way Dr. Kocher was mentioning, that when you go to do services at home, it's one person who's going. And COVID has taught us that you want to be at least a little exclusive also when you're getting your skin or your hair being taken care by somebody else. So yes, multi-skilling is the way forward, but let them specialize in one thing. Let them know everything, but a specialization in one thing which then becomes your game changer is one. Be continuous skilling, because it's never the end that I have learned everything and I know everything. The trends keep changing, and our industry is just like fashion industry. Every 6 months there's a different color palette which is released, whether it's a color for the eyes or the lips or the kind of makeup to be done or the kind of even eyebrow threading, from a single line of an eyebrow to a chunky eyebrows and everything. So you need to keep yourself upskilling, reskilling, and making new ways, learning new ways of doing the same job more efficiently and more timely managed services. When it comes to the service side, Rich has mostly covered all the points, but one point that I would like to tell everyone here, and which is a biggest pain point, which I saw even your cohort, where you've made a stall this time for the first time for service professionals in case if you've got vacancies. The most difficult thing in our industry is to retain good and talented staff, because you invest in them. We all have touched on it. You invest not just technically in them, you invest emotionally in them. You even train them to become your brand ambassadors, because half of the time the client is coming to you because of a hairdresser or a makeup artist. So it's very important that they take that pride and wear the brand on their sleeve. So, one thing, as Richard mentioned, pamper them, yes, but have their skin in the game also. Maybe get their entire payout, the CTC, in such a fashion that there is a component of a profitability involved in it rather than just a plain salary. Let them feel that pride that this is my salon also. It could be as little as 5% of the profitability, 10%. It's a kind of an incentivization. And you can even have them on a long-term contracts at the same point of time. Because I come from a school of thought, if you keep your team happy, they will make sure that the client who comes to you goes out of the door happily. So that's very, very important. And thirdly, for a salon owner, very important to understand the price point. We've discussed how the price is becoming a big issue. Understand the service and the price point, and put yourself in the client's shoe and see, if it is 100 rupees you're charging for a service, if it was you who had to pay that 100 rupees for that service, would you be willing to pay? The day it's a yes from your own heart, that's the right pricing. And if you have the good combo of a good pricing, good service, and a hygienic setup, because as a client, the first thing I want to see is a hygiene in the salon, that everything used on me is not reused. It's not the same towels which are coming, it's not the same sheet. These are very small things. But as a client, I notice everything. As a client, I even take care of, I would like to keep an observation on कि जो thread मेरी threading के लिए use हो रहा है, is it the same thread that she had put in her mouth, or has she taken it off? So very small things to train your team to be as hygienic and groomed. I as a client would only enter if I see a groomed professional. So just do that. I don't think so there's any looking back, because it's a sunshine industry.
Just wanted to add one
Yes,
point,
yes,
since she's spoken about hygiene. See, yes, one more thing you can do is that smart salons, using the smart switches, the, auto lights, the solar panels and all, which can cut down on your cost. So that is also one should think in future. That's all.
Go the eco-friendly way. So, Dr. Blossom, we started with you. We would like to end the session with you. Any concluding notes?
Concluding, I think we've covered quite a lot. We'll ask them, have we covered a lot for you all? Have you learned something, or have any questions
Yes,
also?
if there are questions.
You have? Okay. So just before the question, one thing before the question, I mean, everyone, and even Monica, and she's covered so much, and it's really wonderful. Thank you all. I think we got the most beautiful panel. Thank you. You know what? We have to, one more thing is that people's skills has to be there. People's skills. One, you go into a salon, if a person, like I've discovered one thing, everyone will do the same education. How do some people reach right up to the top, and and some are right there? The reason is they've all got the same education. So technically they're perfect. But what is making that little extra? It's people skills. How you treat people, how you listen to them, not hear them, but listen to them, how you treat them, and how you know what they want. Because you have to learn. One thing I'd really like to recommend to all of you all is learn body language. Because if you know the body language of a person, you know what kind they are. If they're a cooperator, they'll cooperate with you. If they're an energizer, you have to know how they go. If they're an analyzer, again, you have to know how you can treat them. And of course, a regulator, we call the other one. That is the one who comes in. So this is something that you must learn. Just get a body language, learn it. You will know. And if you can understand the body language of the person, treat them, you really are going to have no problem at all. Because then, and people, and how you wish them, like Monica was saying, you wish them, you are smiling, you're good, you know how to talk. Communication. That is another one. Communication, and that is very, very good. Okay? So now we'll get the questions.
Yes.
So I'll start with Monica ji.
Oh, she's got
Uh, Monica ji, you're doing fantastic job. I have seen people's their eyes were shining while they came for the graduation ceremony. So my question is here: you work next to ministers of skill development. So any policy changes you want, which will help the industry after COVID in 2025? Do you want to add on any policy which will make a difference in our industry?
Thank you for the question, Unnati. Policy changes, if there's any need, we always ask the industry to come forward, suggest the changes that you need. But from the government side, there's already been an inclusion of an online mode also, which has happened during COVID because offline all the institutes were closed. So we had started doing a demonstration online, but the practical still happens offline only. In addition to that, since you've asked me and I wanted to close my session on that, currently we do have some numbers being allocated to us for beauty professionals for upskilling. People who already are skilled in your network, the scheme is called Recognition of Prior Learning. It's called RPL. We've got around 10,000 numbers where we can give you those numbers, and for it's a 60 hours of training that you will need to conduct, but there's a complete monitoring that happens. There'll be a biometric that will be taken into account, and for each student the training institute will get roughly about 3,000. So any training institute, any salon chain, if you've got more than 100, 200, 500,000 people you want to train, or this scheme is even for your existing professionals who do not have a government certificate. So it's a government sponsored training. It's you can complete it in 5 days, 6 hours each. 30 if you want to do 30 hours, otherwise 60 hours is what we aim at. And we'll be more than happy to get you empaneled on that.
Thank you so much. So the question I'll add on with all, and I'll finish my question here. So like Blossom ma'am said that the previous our course with cosmetology was better. We were learning every skin here and everything in that. Then we are going further for our advanced training. So like, do you like back to basic, the old school thing, or the new generation is going to select one subject and learning that? They don't learn other.
I like back to basics. That is very, very
Same
important
I.
for me. Okay, because then you learn everything, and you can. I mean, this is also for India, for the rural areas, the smaller towns, not only smaller towns, the villages and everywhere, where they should be given that little course where they can do everything, because they haven't got the time and their thing to go and learn more. So back to basics is there. And
yeah, so a beauty professional is doing amazing, beautiful panel sitting in front of me. But Seema ji was a little worried about the Instagram. So there is a question to Kanishka here. My question to you. So like after this panel discussion, a lot of things are coming out. So how, as a beauty magazine, as a digital platform, and the biggest platform of Instagram, you are going to take forward as a responsibility which is coming out after this panel discussion? Welcome.
Putting this responsibility on us, we'll happily take it forward. So it's our aim at Professional Beauty India to educate our readers, educate our visitors, so that they know what to select, how to select, and how to make the most of that selection. So that's why we have this panel. We have always had Seema's support in trying to create awareness. So yeah, we are at the forefront when it comes to creating awareness about education in the beauty industry. But I would really like Seema to comment on
wanted
this.
to
Yes.
add
Yeah,
to your
please.
this thing. There's a very interesting thing I've seen in PB. Just outside here, there's a education area where they're educating, they're experiencing. It's not about the sales. So I think this is one thing I really love in this
Yes.
PB,
Yes.
this new innovation that is
Yeah,
good.
PB is now all about heart to heart. We are connecting with beauty professionals, giving them what they want, which is right information and right education with stalwarts like Seema. And it's not about the brands and not about sales. It's all about connecting heart to heart. Yes, Seema, you want to add
Yeah.
something?
I'm not worried about Instagram. I'm just making people aware that this is what is happening. But the basic education, the foundation has to be very strong, and that awareness has to be shared by people. As Monica mentioned, that after that one can do online, but the basics have to be really, really strong. Then there should not be any problem.
Right. I'm afraid we have time for only those many questions today. Although it has been a fantastic discussion, I would like to continue with it. My next panel awaits. So thank you so much. A round of applause to our lovely panelists here. And can I please request you to step forward for a photo opportunity? आ जाओ. Dr. Blossom, this is a token of appreciation from us. Seema, this is for you.
You're giving, yeah.
Okay, anyways, so we lost a box in transit, so we, your mementos will be shared with you. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.